B'siyata d'shmaya, we're going to learn brachos daf chof beis. We're going to start 6 lines from the bottom of daf chof aleph amud beis. Says the Gemara. Tnan, we learned in the Mishnah daf chof vav amud aleph. Zov shero'o keri. Somebody who was already a zov and he's tomei for 7 days, and all the halachos of zov apply to him. And now, besides for being a zov, he also became a bal keri. Or v'nida shepolta shichva zera. She was tomei nida, which means that she's tomei for at least 7 days. And besides for her being a nida, she was now poiletes shichva zera, which gives her the same halachas as a bal keri. Or hameshameshes v'roa sodam. She was first meshameshes, which also gave her the halachas of a bal keri, and afterwards she became a nida. In all these 3 cases, where besides for being tomei as a bal keri, there's also halachas of tuma, which tvila on its own will not be metahir. Nonetheless, tzrich and tvila, they need to tovel as a bal keri in order to be allowed to do those things which a bal keri is not allowed to do, learn Torah, daven, etc. Rabbi Yehuda Poiter, Rabbi Yehuda says that since they are tomei and they're going to stay tomei even after tvilas Ezra, or the tefillah of a bal keri, therefore they are potter from toveling. Says the Gemara, Adkan lo potter Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda only patters from tefillah elo bezov shero'o keri. If first this person was a zov and then he became a bal keri, to meikora lav bar tefillahu. He lekatchila, even before he became a bal keri, he was already not able to become toher in the next 7 days because he was a zov. Aval bal keri greda, but somebody who is a bal keri with no other tumas are on him, mechayev, he is mechayev tfilas bal keri. And this seems to contradict our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says that regarding a bal keri, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, mevarich lefneim ula'acharem, he can make the brachos which have the similar halachos to Torah regarding a bal keri, and Rabbi Yehuda holds, even though he's a bal keri, he can make those brachos, and at this point we assume that he can make them verbally, by speaking them, which would mean that Rabbi Yehuda holds that there's no issa b'chlal of a bal keri to learn Torah. We just now saw that, according to Rabbi Yehuda, we're assuming that there is a chiyuv of tefillah for a bal keri. Are you going to say, Hu adinda filu bal keri greda, nami potar Rabbi Yehuda? Are you going to suggest that the truth is that Rabbi Yehuda says that no bal keri needs to tovel, irrespective of whether he's also a zov? V'hayde komiflik bezov shero keri, and the only reason that machlokes of Rabbi Yehuda is brought in the case where it's a zov shero keri, even though Shittas Rabbi Yehuda, who says potar, is not because he was a zov and therefore cannot become tomei anyway, but because every bal keri doesn't need to tovel according to Rabbi Yehuda. The reason that the halacha was expressed in that way, lo yidiacho koichon d'Rabbanon, to teach us the koach of the halacha of the chachomim, that the chachomim who do say there's a chiyuv of tefillah for bal keri, they say so even in the event that he's a zov, and that the tefillah will not help him become toyer because he's still a zov. Nonetheless, according to the chachomim, they need to tovel. So, in order to teach us this chiddush, we're discussing tfilas Ezra in the case where he's also a zov, and then Rabbi Yehuda says, potter, you don't need to tovel because Rabbi Yehuda holds you never have to tovel. If that would be the case, and that would be pshat, in order that this Mishnah on Daf Chavav should not contradict the Mishnah we learned on Daf Chav Amud Beis, Eima Seifa, I've got a kasha. The end of the Mishnah says, Hameshameshes v'roa sodam tzricha tvila. This woman that was first became a balas keri because of meshameshes, and only afterwards she became a nida. The Mishnah says, the Chachomim say, tzricha tvila. She does have to tovel. And Rabbi Yehuda says that he's potter. He's potter from toveling. Leman katonila. This halacha, who's it going according to? Ilei mularabonon. If the halacha of hameshameshes v'roa sodam, that tzricha tvila, is the Chachomim pshita, it doesn't even need to say it, it's self-understood. Hashta, if the Chachomim already on the line earlier say that ma zov shero'o keri, if he was a zov before he became a bal keri, and then he became a bal keri, and lav bar tvilahu, as soon as he became a bal keri, he was already not able to toivel for his keri because he's already a Baal Zov. He's a Zov. And nonetheless, Mechayev Rabbanon, the Rabbanon say he has to toivel as a Baal Keri. HaMeshameshes, V'ras Adam, if she was first Meshameshes, she first had the halachas of Baal Keri before she became a Nida, Demi Korabas Tfilahi, as soon as she became a Balas Keri, she's allowed, she can toivel. Then, of course, according to the Chachamim Lo Kol Shekain, that she has to toivel, even if she became a Nida afterwards. Elolav Rabbi Yehuda. It must be that part of the Mishnah is Rabbi Yehuda. The Rabbi Yehuda says that Meshameshes v'ras Adam tzricha tvila. V'dafke katoni lo Meshameshes v'ras Adam eino tzricha tvila. And Rabbi Yehuda then is assuming that only in the case of if she was Meshameshes and then she became a Nida, in that case she doesn't need to toivel because the Tvila is not going to help. She's a Nida anyway. Aval Baal Keri Greda, but if she's only a Baal Keri, Mechayev, then there is a Chiyuv of Tvila, and Rabbi Yehuda holds, according to this tzad, that Baal Keri does have a Chiyuv of Tvilas Ezra, of toiveling. If so, the kasha comes back. If so, why in our Mishnah on the Chafamud base does Rabbi Yehuda say that Baal Keri is allowed to be Mavorich, Lifneim, Ulacharem? And now we're going to learn in the Braisa the sources of exactly what a Baal Keri is or is not allowed to learn according to the different opinions. The Tanya we learned in the Braisa, in one pasuk it says that one has to learn and teach Torah. Uchsiv Basre, and afterwards it says in the pasuk, it tells us over what happened at Har Sinai. Ma lahalon, just in the same way as with Sinai, it was ba'ema v'yira, bereses v'zia, it was awe, fear, and trembling. Afkan, so too regarding learning Torah, ba'ema or b'yira or bereses or b'zia, it cannot be done with lightheadedness. And since a person who became a Baal Keri is only became a Baal Keri through lightheadedness, permitted or other, and therefore, is dafka a Baal Keri is also to limud Torah. Mikan omru hazovim v'amitzayroim uboyin al anidois, people who are severely tomei, a zov, a mitzayra, and somebody who has relations with a nida, mutorin likris b'Torah, they're allowed to learn chumish u'benavim u'beksuvim, lishnois b'mishnah, they're allowed to learn mishnayos u'gemara u'behalochis u'beagodos. Aval bar they carry on a Baal Keri that is somewhat associated to lightheadedness, asurim. Till he goes to the mikvah, he's also to learn Torah. Rabbi Yossi Omer, shoynahu b'regilos. Rabbi Yossi says a Baal Keri is allowed to learn those parts of Torah that he's very familiar with. Ulvad shelo yatzia es ha-mishnah. But when it comes to elaboration on a mishnah, that he's not allowed to do. Rabbi Yonasan ben Yosef Omer, Matziahu es ha-mishnah. He's allowed to elaborate on a mishnah. Ve'ene matzia es ha-gemara. And Rashi says this means medrash. When it comes to midrashim, where there's drashas, a person should not elaborate in the state of being a Baal Keri. Reb Nosson ben Avishalim Omer, Af matzia es ha-gemara. He's even allowed to elaborate on the drashas. But make sure not to verbally express Hashem's names in the psukim mentioned within the medrashim. Rabbi Yochanan Asandla, Talmidei shel Rabbi Akiva, Mishum Rabbi Akiva Omer, Lo yikones lemedrash kol ikka. You bechlal shouldn't approach the drashas in a state of a Baal Keri, even if you're not elaborating on them. And others say you shouldn't come into a Beis HaMedrash to learn Bechlal in a state of being a Baal Keri. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, and this is the Rabbi Yehuda we're looking for, Shoinahu Behilchos Derech Eretz, a Baal Keri is allowed to learn Meseches Derech Eretz. Continues the Gemara. Ma'aseh Rabbi Yehuda, it once happened with Rabbi Yehuda Shero Keri, V'hoya Mahalech Al Gav Hanor. He was going along the riverbank. Omrulei Talmidov, his Talmidim said to him, Rabbeinu, Shnei Lonu Perek Echod Behilchos Derech Eretz. Teach us something from Meseches Derech Eretz. Yorad v'toval v'shonolem. He toveled, and then he told them over halacha from Meseches Derech Eretz. Amru loi, they asked him, Loi kach lemadetenu rabbeinu, did you not teach us that sheinahu b'hilchos derech eretz, even a balkari is allowed to learn from Masechas derech eretz? Amar lohem, af al pi shemekel ani al acherim, even though I agree that the halacha is that, and that's how I rule for others, that it's mutter as even as a balkari, machmir ani alatzmi, I was machmir for myself, I took the more stringent line that even when learning derech eretz, and first go and toivel. Continues the Gemara. Tanya, we learned in a brisa. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira hoya oimer ein divrei Torah mekablim tuma. Divrei Torah cannot contract tuma under any circumstances, and be'etzem he's coming to undermine the whole basis of Tvilas Ezra, that even if a person is a toma of a balkari, nonetheless it will not affect his Torah learning. There was a Talmud that was just very swiftly and fast going through a Gemara as if he did not want to elaborate on it in front of Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. Omalei, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira told this Talmud, Psach picha, open your mouth for your iru dvarecha, and your words should shine forth. She'ein divrei Torah mekablim tuma. Don't worry, even if you're a balkari, the divrei Torah will not become tomei. Shenemar haloi koi dvorai keish num Hashem. Hashem says, my words, the Torah is like fire. Ma eish einim mekabel tuma. In the same way as fire cannot contract any form of tuma, after divrei Torah einam mekablim tuma, neither can any divrei Torah become tomei. Omar Mar. We saw before, Matzia es ha-Mishnah ve'enoi matzia es ha-Gemara. A balkari is allowed to elaborate on the Mishnayos, but is not allowed to elaborate on the Midrashim. Some say here, Messiah Ye'alel Rabbi Loi, the Omar Rabbi Loi. Rabbi Loi maintained Omar Vacha bar Yaakov, Mishum Rabbeinu. Halacha matzia es ha-Mishnah ve'enoi matzia es ha-Gemara. The halacha is that a person who's a balkari is allowed to elaborate on Mishnayos, but not allowed to elaborate on the drashos. Ketanoit machlikas tanoim, matzia es ha-Mishnah ve'enoi matzia es ha-Gemara divrei Reb Meir. Indeed, Reb Meir holds that a person should not elaborate on Mishnayos if he's a balkari, but on drashos he's allowed to. Rabbi Yehuda ben Gamliel oimer mishum Reb Chanina ben Gamliel, zeh v'zeh, both reading and elaborating is osa. Regarding Gemara, it's osa to even just to read it. V'omri lo, and some say zeh v'zeh muta, and some say both reading and elaborating on the Gemara is muta. Mandama omar zeh v'zeh osar. Those who say that the zeh v'zeh is also Rabbi Yochanan HaSandler, that's like Rabbi Yochanan HaSandler who said before in the Gemara, lo yikonis lemedrash kol ikka, you shouldn't approach the midrashim b'chlal. Man do omar zeh v'zeh muta. Those who say that you're even allowed to elaborate on the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, he holds like Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira that ain't divrei Torah mekablim tuma. Continues the Gemara. Omar of Nachman bar Yitzchak. Nog alma, the world conducts itself kahani tlas sabi, like these three elders we're about to mention. Rabbi Loi bereishis hagez. The opinion of Rabbi Loi regarding the shearings, the first shearing of the year, the halacha is that a person has to take off part of the shearing and give it to a kohen, and there's a certain halacha of reishis hagez that the world conducts itself like Rabbi Loi. We'll soon see what that is. Rabbi Yashia bekilaim, and the world conducts itself according to Rabbi Yashia with one of the halachas of kilaim, and Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira b'divrei Torah, and the world follows Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira regarding divrei Torah. So the Gemara explains, Rabbi Loi bereishis hagez. What's the halacha of Rabbi Loi regarding the reishis hagez, the part of the first shearings? Tanya, Rabbi Loi oimer, reishis hagez einoi noeg elo ba'oretz. Reishis hagez only applies in Eretz Yisrael and not in Chutz la'oretz, and the world conducts itself according to that opinion. Continues the Gemara, Rabbi Yashia bekilaim. What's the halacha of Rabbi Yashia regarding kilaim? And we know that there's klei kerem, there's klei zroim. Kilaim means mixing two different types together, and certain types are not allowed to be mixed. With clothes, for example, we know that there's kilayim, one's not allowed to wear wool and linen. But with plantation also, there's certain plants that are not allowed to be planted together, and there's even klei akerim, which means there are certain things you're not allowed to plant in a vineyard. And Rabbi Yashia says as follows, it says in the Pasuk, Lo sizra karmacho kilayim, you're not allowed to plant kilayim in a vineyard, you're not allowed to sow in a vineyard kilayim. Rabbi Yashia Omar, Lo'ilam eino chayiv acha yizra chita usaira v'chartzon b'mapoiles yad. You're not allowed to ever grow wheat and barley right with each other at the same time. You're not allowed to sow them at the same time. That is called a regular kilayim, klei zeroim. But klei akerim, according to Rabbi Yashia, is only when you have a chita and sa'ira and grape seeds, which is charatzon. But mapoiles yad, you're sowing them all simultaneously at the same time. Then, according to Rabbi Yashia, that's the only time where you're going to be over the issa of klei akerim. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira b'divrei Torah. What's the halacha of Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira that everybody follows? The like we said, nohug alma, the world conducts itself that way. To Tanya Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, oimer ein divrei Torah mekablim tuma, that the kula we find with Tvilas Ezra regarding a Balkari going to mikvah is based on the fact that the world has taken on the stand of Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira that divrei Torah are not mekabel tuma, and therefore one may learn Torah even if he's a Balkari. Continues the Gemara, Ki asa Zeiri, when Zeiri came from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, Omar, he said over as follows, Bitlua Litvilusa. They abolished the chiyuv of a Balkari to Toivel. V'omri la, Batlua Lenitilusa. Some say that Zeiri said that they abolished the chiyuv of Netila, of washing, pouring. Man da'oma bitlua litvilusa, the opinion that says the Zeiri said over that they were mevatel tvila. What did that mean? Which tvila were they mevatel? Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. They were mevatel tvilas Ezra because they followed Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira's understanding that divrei Torah are not mekabel tuma. Man da'oma bitlua lenitilusa, the man da'oma that says that he reported that in Eretz Yisrael they were mevatel netila, which is washing, is referring to washing one's hands for tefillah. Ki hadar of Chizda, and this works with the opinion of Rav Chizda that we already saw previously in the Gemara on Daf Tezvav, that Rav Chizda was layit amanda mehader amaya b'idon tzloisa. If somebody would go running after water, even though the Zman of Tefillah has already arrived, Rav Chizda would curse him and say, now you daven, if you don't have water, just make sure your hands are clean. You do not need water. We can wipe them on anything that cleans. Continues the Gemara. Tonu Rabbanon, Bal Keri Shenosnu Olov Tisho Kabin Mayim Tohir. If 9 kabin of water was poured with a kli onto a Balkari, the Balkari is Tohir. He whispered to Rebbe Akiva. Rebbe Akiva lochasho leBen Azai. Rebbe Akiva in turn whispered to Ben Azai. UBen Azai yotzav v'shon ol leTalmidav. And Ben Azai taught it to his Talmidim. B'shuk, in the marketplace. Pligi b'atrei Amiroi b'Maravi. And there was a machlekas amongst the Amiroim in Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Yosi bar Ovin, Rabbi Yosi bar Zvida. Chad Toni, one said Shono, that Ben Azai taught it to his Talmidim. V'chad Omar lochasho, and one says he just whispered it to his Talmidim. Mandatoni Shon, or that the one that says that he taught it to them. He wanted them all to know what was the reasoning for those people that would go to mikveh in the morning if they were Balkari. Asks the Gemara, Ma Tivon, you want to know their reasoning? Ha'yu de Omar Balkari also b'divrei Torah. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi was the one who said that on Daf Chaf Aleph Amud Beis that Balkari is not allowed to learn Torah. They went to mikveh in order to be able to learn Torah. Hachikama. This is what we meant with the question. Ma tivon ba'arboim so eshe b'tisho kabin. The question was, what was the reason that they were makbid? It should be dafka 40 so. 9 kabim is enough. Ma tivon b'tvila. Why is it that they are going dafka to toivel? Efshe b'nesina. Then tisho kabin can be poured onto a person. He doesn't need to immerse himself in a mikveh. Omer Chanina, Geder Godol Godruba. A very big protective fence they made for themselves, this Geder. Titania, Maisa Be'echot Shetova Isha. There was somebody, an unmarried man, Shetova Isha, who he asked an unmarried woman to have relations with him. Lidvar Avera, it's also Drabonon to have any relations outside marriage. Omra Loi, so this girl said to this boy, Reika, you're a bur, you're empty. Yesh l'char boim sa she'ata toivel ben? You have a mikveh where you can go to afterwards and toivel? Miyat pirish, he left her alone. So you see that the fact that people were makbid to have dafka tvila with arboim sa actually protects them from doing averus. Continues the Gemara. Omar lahu Rav Huna l'Rabbanon. Rav Huna said to the Rabbanon, Rabbi Isai, my Rebbes, mipnei ma atem mezalzlim b'tvila zu. Why are you following the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira that says that divrei Torah are not mekabel tuma, and therefore you're being very, very mekel and mezalzel in this tvila? Imishum tzina, is it because it's cold? Efshe b'merchatzois, you can go to a hot bathhouse, what we would call a hot mikveh. Omar le Rav Chizda, v'chiyesh tvila b'chamin, is one allowed to? Is it possible to do tvila in hot water? Omar le, they said to him, Rav Ada ba'ava koi kavosoch. Rav Ada ba'ava holds like you. Ba'ava holds that a balkari has to toivel in a kosher mikveh, but he says I don't hold that a balkari has to toivel in a kosher mikveh with 40 saw. Continues the Gemara. Reb Zera have a Yosef ba'agna demaya. Reb Zera was sitting in a tub of water, be'masuta, in a bathhouse. Omar leila shama, he said to his shamas, to the one that was helping him, Zil v'aisili tisha kabin, bring me 9 kabin of water. V'shodi ilavoy, and then it will be poured on top of me, and that way I won't be a tome with as a balkari. Why do you need to bring 9 kabin to pour on yourself? You're sitting in the water. The similarities of 9 kabin to mikvah 40 saw. Mar boim saw, in the same way as it's self-understood regarding a regular tvila in a mikvah of 40 saw. But tvila v'loi b'nesina, it only works to be matayr if you immerse yourself in a mikvah, not if you pour 40 saw on top of you. Af tisha kabin, so to tisha kabin, it's the other way around. It's b'nesina v'loi b'tvila. It's only matayr if you pour it on top of you, and not if you immerse yourself in tisha kabin. Continues the Gemara. Rav Nachman tikein chatzpo bas tisho kabin. Rav Nachman, he put aside a vessel called a chatzpo, which could hold 9 kabin of water, and this tub of water was left down in the yeshiva, that those talmidim, obviously those married talmidim, and those that were balikeri, they would be able to use these tisho kabin to pour on themselves before learning Torah. Ki also Rav Dimi, when Rav Dimi came from Eretz Yisrael to Bavel, Omar, he said as follows: Reb Akiva, Reb Yehuda Glustera, Omru, they both said, Lo yishanu elo l'choyle. You can only use the nesina of Tisha Kabin by a choyle, and the choyle who became a balkeri bo'insoy. We saw already before that the Gemara said Efshar ben Nesina, that any Talmid Chacham is allowed to use Tisha Kabin, and Rashi explained because all Talmidei Chachamim are in the same bracket of Cholim because they're weakened from their Limud HaTorah. So therefore all Talmidei Chachamim can use the Nesina of Tisha Kabin. But here he's adding on, they said more than that. They said La'oinsoy. It's only if the Choyle is not just all the Talmidei Chachamim who are called Cholim, but they are Balei Keri because Margil, they chose to become Balei Keri because of the mitzvahs oina they were doing. Aval l'Choyle, but Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yehuda Glustera, they held that only a Choyle la'oinsoy is allowed to use Tisha Kabin. Aval l'Choyle ha'Margil, but a Choyle who brought the tumah onto himself, arboim so. He's not allowed to use Tisha Kabin, he has to use 40 saw and toivel. Omer Rav Yosef says, It bar chatzbei de Rav Nachman. if this is what you're reporting back from Eretz Yisrael, that indeed the only people allowed to use Tisha Kabin are not all Talmidei Chachomim and Cholim, but only Cholim La'ointzoi, and that's extremely rare, we can break the vessel that Rav Nachman set aside. This Chatzpah, we don't need it anymore. Ki also Rovin, when Rovin came, Omar, he said as follows, and he's arguing with Rav Dimi. Be'usha hava uvda, there was a story in Usha, Bekil'a de Reb Ashia, in the anteroom, in one of the side rooms by Reb Ashia. Osu v'shoalu l'Reb Asi. They asked Reb Asi, can a Baal Keri be metayr himself before learning Torah with Tisha Kabin? Omar Luhur, he said, Loi shonu elo l'choyle hamargil. For a choyle, any choyle, even if he's margil, he can use arboim sa. Aval l'choyle lo'oinsoi. But if he's a choyle who became a Baal Keri, ba'oinus, not something he chose, potter miklum, there was no tfilas Ezra, and he does not need to go to mikveh or do anything, he's allowed to learn Torah. So far, what have we seen? That regarding a bori, a healthy person, he always needs tefillah in arboim sa. We haven't seen any difference yet between a bori who's margil and a bori la'oinsai. When it comes to choyle, we have a machleikas. According to Rav Dimi, a choyle who's margil is arboim sa, and if it's a choyle la'oinsai, Tisha Kabin is enough. According to Rovin, a choyle who is margil does not need arboim sa, Tisha Kabin is enough, and a choyle ba'oinus, he does not need even Tisha Kabin, he's completely potter. Says the Gemara, Omer of Yosef, it's tamid chotzvei de Rav Nachman. According to you, Rovin, that say that any choyle hamargil, which is back to all our Talmidei Chachomim, who are choyle hamargil, Tisha Kabin is enough, then we can fix that vessel of Rav Nachman, who prepared a vessel of Tisha Kabin for the Talmidei Chachomim. Continues the Gemara. Mechti kulu amiroi v'tanoi b'de Ezra kamifligi? I don't understand. Ezra lived a long time ago, and there's been a Messiah. We know, the people must know what Ezra was Masakin. How can it be that you've got a Machleikas, Rav Dimi and Rovin, as to when you need Arboim Sa, and when you need Tisha Kabin? V'nerza Ezra heicha tikein. Let's try and establish what the Gzeres Ezra actually was. Omar Abaya assumed as follows. Ezra tikein lebori hamargil arboim sa. The arboim sa that we all know of Tfilas Ezra was only for a healthy person, a bori who's margil, who became a Baal Keri because he chose to become a Baal Keri. Ubori la'oinsai, but a bori, a healthy person who became a Baal Keri not willingly, Tisha Kabin, the 9 Kabin is enough. That's what Abaya assumes and understood was the original Takonos Ezra. V'osa Amiroi, and the Machleikas of Dimi and Rovin was upligi b'choyle. They were only arguing by a choyle. Marasova of Dimi holds choyle hamargil, a choyle who chose to become Tommy with Keri, is kabori hamargil. It's got the same halacha as bori hamargil. He needs arboim sa. V'choyle la'oinsai kabori la'oinsai. The halachas of a choyle who sees ba'inus is the same as a bori who sees ba'inus. And according to Abaya, a bori who sees ba'inus, Ezra was misaken, 9 kabin is enough. Umar Sova and Rovin holds that choyle hamargil is kabori la'oinsai. That if he's a choyle, even if he's margil, it wasn't an oinus, as the same halachas as a bori la'oinsai, which is Tisha Kabin. The choyle la'oinsai, if he's also a choyle, and also he became a Baal Keri ba'oinus, potter miklum, he doesn't need to do anything, he's allowed to learn Torah. Omar Rava responded to Abaya, Nehida tikkun Ezra tvila. We know that Ezra was masakan tvila, which is arboim sa. Nesina mitikin. We ever heard that the Ezra discussed explicitly anything to do with Tisha Kabin and Nesina? V'Omar Mar, Ezra tikkun tvila lebalei kerim. The shmur was that Ezra was only masakan tvila. Elo Omar Rava said it a little bit differently to Abaya. Ezra tikkun tvila lebori amargil arboim sa. the only thing that Ezra said in his Tfilas Ezra was that a healthy person who became a Balkari willingly and knowingly, he needs to tovel in 40 saw. V'asu Rabbanon, and afterwards the Chachomim came and said, V'etkinu lebori la'oinsoi tisha kabin. A bori, a well person who saw Keri ba'oinus, tisha kabin is enough. V'asu Amirai v'komifligi. And Rav Dimi and Ravin argued, b'choyle. What's the halacha regarding a choyle? Marasova Rav Dimi holds choyle hamargil kabori hamargil v'choyle la'oinsoi kabori la'oinsoi. Marasova and Ravin holds lebori hamargil arboim sa v'choyle hamargil kabori la'oinsoi, which is tisha kabin, aval choyle la'oinsoi potter l'klum. Continues the Gemara, Omar Rava. And here there's a little bit of a complication with the Girusois, because the way Rava seems to be saying it is like a new opinion. And when you say Hilchasa, it's not common that this is a new opinion. We'll read the Gemara as we have it in front of us. Omar Rava, Hilchasa the halacha is Bori Hamargil. And this L'chol Adei, as Ezra said, Bori Hamargil is Arboim So. The Choyle Hamargil, he adds in Choyle Hamargil, is Hamargil is also Arboim Sa, and this is what Rav Dimi holds by Choyle Hamargil. Ubori La'oinsoi, Tisha Kabin. Everybody seems to agree, both Abaya and Rava, that a Bori La'oinsoi is Tisha Kabin. Aval Choyle La'oinsoi, Potter Miklum, and this is not Rav Dimi, now it's Ravin. And some didn't like that the Rashba came to town on this Rava, and he said that the Girusa should really be that Choyle Hamargil should be written after the words Arboim Sa, together with Bori La'oinsoi, which is Tisha Kabin, which would be following the opinion of Ravin right through. Continues the Gemara Ton Rabbanon. Bal Keri Shenosnu Olov Tisha Kabin Maim Tohir. There was a shmua, this is called the Reisha of the Braisa, that a Balkari with Tisha Kabin was poured on him is Tahir. Bamed Dvarim Amurim, when is this true? La'atzmoi, when he wants to learn Torah himself. Avol La'achirim, when he wants to teach others or he wants to be moitzi others with brachas and tefillas, Arboim Sa. Then you need to have 40 Sa, and Tisha Kabin is not enough. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, and this is the sefer of this brisa. Rabbi Yehuda says, Arboim Sa b'kol mokim. You always need 40 Sa. And both of these quotes need understanding. So the Gemara says as follows. Rabbi Yechanan, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, that was one set of Chachomim. Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Yesi, Rabbi Chanina was another set of Chachomim. Chad mehai zuga v'chad mehai zuga areisha. One of each of these pairs discussed the reisha that we just learnt. And we'll soon see that the other one of each set discussed the Sefer. Chad Omar, one said, Hod Omrus, Bamed Dvarim Amurim, this that we learnt in the Reisha. Bamed Dvarim Amurim La'atzmei Aval Achirim Memsa, that the difference between yourself, whether you need it for yourself to learn Torah or teaching others, Lo Yishanu Elo L'choyle Hamargil. By Choyle Hamargil, and this must be going according to Ravin, that La'atzmoi Tisha Kabin is enough, which is what Ravin holds by Choyle Hamargil. But when you want to teach somebody else, you need Arboim Sa. Aval Choyle La'oinsoi, but in the case of Choyle La'oinsoi, Tisha Kabin, then even though Ravin holds that for yourself a Choyle La'oinsoi doesn't need anything, but to teach others you don't need Arboim Sa, Tisha Kabin is enough. The Chad Omar, the other Chacham held, Kol la'achirim afilu choyle la'oinsoi ad arboim sa. Whenever you need it for somebody else, to teach somebody else, or to be moitzi somebody else, you always need arboim sa. Not only a choyle amargil, but also a choyle la'oinsoi. And says the Gemara, v'chad mehai zuga as-seifa. The second of each of those group of Chachomim, they commented on the Sefer, the quote that says, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Arboim Sa, Mikol Mokim. Chad Omar, one of the Chachomim said, Hod Omar Rabbi Yehuda Arboim Sa, this that Rabbi Yehuda says, that you can use Arboim Sa to Toivel, Mikol Mokim, Lo Yishanu Elo Bekarka. He meant only when it's in the ground. Aval b'kelim loy, you cannot tovel in kelim. V'chad omar, and the other one says, afilu b'kelim nami, arboim saw that you can tovel is even in a kli. Says the Gemara, the man d'Omar who says that arboim saw works even in kelim. Hainu diktoni Rabbi Yehuda Omer, arboim saw mikol mokim. That's what Rabbi Yehuda meant, that mikol mokim, arboim saw always works, not only in karka, also in kelim. Elo leman d'Omar bekarka in, bekelim loi, the one who says that you can only use tvila in karka, in the ground, and not in kelim. Mikol mokim, the words mikol mokim la'asuye mai, what are they coming to include? Says the Gemara, la'asuye maim she'uvim, that you're allowed to use water that has been through a kli, but the tvila has to be inside a karka and not in a kli. You cannot tovel into a kli. So when Rabbi Yehuda says, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, arboim saw mikol mokim, it means irrespective of whether it's rainwater or if it's maim she'uvim, water that's been through a kli, as long as it's in the karka, you can tovel in it. But in a kli, you cannot be tovel. Continues the Gemara. Rav Papa, Rav Huna Bereid Rabbi Yeshua, V'Rava Berebi Bar Shmuel, Krichu Rifta Bahad Yadodi. They were eating together. Omar le Rav Papa. Rav Papa said, Havu li didi livreich. I want to be moitzi you all with birchas hamazon. Denoful ilavoi teisha kabin. Because I've poured on myself tisha kabin, and therefore I'm no longer a Baal Keri, and I can be moitzi you. Omalu Rava Bar Shmuel. Rava Bar Shmuel commented to him, Tanina bamed dvorim amurim la'atzmoi, avo la'achirim arboim so. We learned that you can only use tisha kabin for yourself. You want to be moitzi as with birchas hamazon, you need arboim so. Elohavu li ledidi livreich. Give me the chance to be moitzi you with birchas hamazon. Denoful ilavoi arboim so, because I toveled in a mikveh of 40 so. Omar luhu Rav Huna. Rav Huna said, no, havu li ledidi, give it to me to be moitzi you. Livreich, to make the bracha. Deleka ilavei loihai, v'loihai, because I didn't use arboim sa, and I didn't use tisha kabin. So some say that it means, I hold like Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, that there's no, that regarding divrei Torah and dvarim shebikdusha, they're not mekabel tumah b'chlal, and therefore I don't need to be tovel b'chlal. And others say that he held that it could be that you do need to tovel, but he says, I was never Tomei, I wasn't a Baal Keri, so you can give it to me. I wasn't a Baal Keri, I didn't need tisha kabin, I didn't need arboim sa. Continues the Gemara. Rav Choma tovil b'meile yoyme de pischa lahoitzi rabim yidei chivason. Rav Choma, he toveled on Erev Pesach in order to be moitzi the rabim their chiyuv. The rest of the year he would just use tisha kabin. On Erev Pesach, when he was going to be moitzi others with their brachas on Leil Seder, he toveled in a mikvah 40 sa. The less hilchas kavasei, the halacha is not like him. Some say the halacha is not like him, and in truth, even when teaching others, tisha kabin is enough. And some say that halacha is not like him, because we paskin like Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira, that for divrei Torah, even teaching divrei Torah are not makabel tumah, and you never need any tvila. Even on Erev Pesach, it wouldn't have been necessary. And in Mir Hashem, in the next year, we're going to start the Mishnah.